Morning, everyone. A very warm welcome. We really are pleased to be joined today by Jamie Carragher, who'll be known to everyone, but also who works with the young people of Merseyside through his foundation as well. On screen, you can see some of the team who've joined us today and who are primed with some questions that they're going to throw at you, Jamie. So, Jamie, thanks very much for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate your support.
No problem. Thanks for having me. So who are we going to start with, please? Are we going to start with Charlie?
I think we're going to start with Charlie. Go for it, Charlie.
Have you ever been involved in scouting in the past? And if you were, what was that experience like?
Unfortunately, I haven't, Charlie, been involved with the Scouts. No, when I was a kid, it was something that was spoken about. Certain people went to different youth clubs. It was a big thing as a kid. You're almost aligned, like having a football club, that a youth club was your club type of thing. You never really went anywhere else. It was seen as like going to Everton or Man United, shall we say. So we used to go to the Brunny Boys Club. There was different youth clubs around. People always spoke about, the Scouts, whether you're in school. So probably 3 or 4 people from our class did that. But no, I was taken in by the Brunny Boys Club as a young kid, and I was there probably 3 or 4 times a week, similar to you, going to the Scouts. So, well, what's your experience of the Scouts then? Tell me what I've missed, Charlie.
So I grew up with scouting with my parents both being leaders, and then I went through the process of Beavers Club Scout Explorers. And then from all that, I got to go to the World Scout Jamboree in the summer last year. So we got to go to West Virginia, New York, Washington, and Canada for about 3 weeks. And that was probably one of the best experiences of my life, full of different cultures, meeting new people. It was just fantastic.
Sounds like I've missed out there.
Yeah. And my second question is, whose podcast is better, yours or Peter Crouch's?
Mine, of course. Don't be so stupid, Charlie. No, of course. I mean, I've listened to Crouchy's for about 20 minutes. I listened to one episode because I was trying to get into listening to different podcasts and that. And his is very funny. I think his is probably a bit more lighthearted than ours. I think our one is probably a lot more serious, like football chat with a few jokes or one-liners. You know what I'm like halfway through them. But I think Crouchy is who he is. I mean, I was in a dressing room with him for a few years as well. He's a brilliant character, and his podcast is everywhere. I think it's on the BBC. So he's done absolutely superb. But we're on his tail. We're coming after him. We put one series out a year. So I think we're looking to bring out a series of 13 from September, as we did last year. It proved to be quite successful. So hopefully we can go again with a second series.
Very good.
Okay, next we're going to go to Rainbow. She's got some questions.
So like during lockdown, have you learned any new skills?
Have you heard this question? My wife's laughing in the background here. I have become a different man in lockdown. I know how to do a lock on a bike that I couldn't do before, and this lock that we had. I know what day our bins go out now. I've got an Amazon account now. I can buy stuff off the internet. I could never do that before. I know how to wash dishes. I'd never done that before. What else? I'm not yet cooking. I've never cooked anything, so yeah, I'm going to learn how to do the barbecue. My wife's telling me that's my next thing. Basically, just cleared our house out about 3 or 4 times, just having it cleared out all the time. But yeah, I do feel like I've got a bit from lockdown, to be honest, in that I've enjoyed the sort of slowness of it, of like, I'm always running around 100 miles an hour with the football and whatever you're doing. And it's been nice I know it's not the nicest situation we're in, but it's been nice to spend time with the family, have all day to sort of, as I said, not be running around, going for nice walks and runs around the local area. Crosby, as we said, Lucy, best place in the world. So maybe I'll see you on my walk and my runs in the next few weeks. But no, I've taken a lot from it. I said that at the start. I knew it was going to be something that we probably didn't all enjoy. But you've got to try and take a positive from it. And I have. As I said, I can do the dishes and I've got an Amazon account now.
It's done a dish.
Sounds like one dish.
Hey,
Just me all.
You've got another question, Rainbow?
So when you were playing football, who was your favourite team to play against?
I love playing against Everton, Rainbow, because it was a huge game. massive rivalry. I was an Everton fan as a kid. I knew everyone in the city, so the banter you'd have all week. And also, it was good because we knew we were better than Everton, so more often than not, we'd win the game. So it was always a good experience. So I loved the build-up to the derby and the local press and the Liverpool Echo and everyone getting really, hyped up for it. This looks like, well, it will be Liverpool and Everton's first game, won't it? After the lockdown, it's going to be a derby. Obviously, it'll be completely different, no supporters in there. But I'd say the derby at Goodison, I enjoyed the one at Goodison more than Anfield, because I think at Anfield we were big favourites. I think when you went to Goodison, it made it a 50-50 game. The atmosphere, for all the supporters were against you. Well, obviously, they were all the Everton fans. And to win there was probably something I savour most, really. Rainbow, I hope you're a Liverpool fan.
Oh, I am, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. No, I didn't want to look like I was rubbing it in too much then if you were blue.
No, proper red.
Good.
Thanks, Rainbow. We've now got your fellow Crosby resident, Lucy. Got a couple of questions for you.
Hi, yeah, mine kind of leads on from Rainbow's a little bit about lockdown. It was Mental Health Awareness Week last week, and we were focusing a lot on in the Scouts and kind of talking about how important it is for our young people to think about their mental health. How have you looked after your mental health as well as your physical health while you've been in lockdown? And do you have any advice for our young members or our other volunteers about how they can look after their mental health at home?
Well, I think the two things you mentioned there go hand in hand, really. I think obviously it's a long day and you've got a lot of thinking time within that day now, the situation we're all in. And as I said, I've enjoyed it in some ways and actually slowing down, whereas I know it may be a problem for some people having too much time on their hands and maybe being alone at home. But I think the physical side of it, that's what I've really tried to get into. I mean, I do a lot of training anyway, but to fill your day, if almost trying, you had that, you could go out for an hour a day, wouldn't you? Whether it was a walk, whether it was a run. I'm very lucky. We've got a garden in the back, so we've gotten all the family in, doing things together, training, doing little circuits together. And I think that's brilliant for you mentally as well. And it doesn't matter how many you can lift or how many push-ups you can do or how far you can run or fast. It's more just getting out the house, really, in some way, if you can. And I think that's been a huge help to us, certainly as a family. I think that's a huge help to everyone. I know everyone's not capable of it. Looking at what I've got in the back garden, which you can get out some fresh air, a walk. And I just hope this lockdown, we take things from it going forward. So the amount of times I've gone on walks, I didn't really go on walks or go on bike rides. We've been up to a bike ride up to Formby and a different path and things like that. And I didn't know too much about these things really. I want to hopefully take some of the stuff that we've had in lockdown, that we've been forced into really, but hopefully you see more people walking, you see less people in the cars. If they don't need to make it, a local car journey, can they walk, can they go on the bike and get us all fitter, more active really. And the advice really is, it's difficult because everyone's in a different boat and you can only be there to support people and help people. I've got 2 young kids in the house who are full of energy, desperate to be out with their friends, really. My daughter's one of the unfortunate few, or fortunate, depends which way you look at it, who missed out on the exams. They should be having them now, really. And my son should be actually playing football for Wigan. He missed out on winning the league. They couldn't finish off their league season. And thankfully Liverpool can, but he couldn't. So obviously it was a little bit of disappointment for them, maybe not seeing the friends as well. My daughter, I think they had a prom as well. So all these little things, even though they're young, they will affect people really, and they'll get disappointed. And as I said, you just got to keep trying, if possible, to look on the positive and try and take the positive things out of lockdown if possible.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Kieran, have you got a question following on from Lucy's?
Yeah, so when you retired from football or playing football, did you notice a difference in your mental health with you being out of a routine?
I'm a very big routine person. My wife's actually looking at me now, videoing me saying, I think it's OCD, I get called sometimes in our house. So I am and I think that comes from football, to be honest, because you've got to be somewhere on time every day. You can't even afford to be late because it's not just yourself, it's a whole group who'll be waiting for you. So we've got to be there at this time for training, we've got to be there for lunch, the coach is leaving at this time, you've got to wear this tracksuit, you've got to wear that suit. It's that type of thing, really, and I think it just makes you like that. I know Stevie's pretty similar like that, whereas, you really like punctuality, what you're wearing, if you're told to do something, be somewhere. And I think a lot of that comes from from the football. So I then created my own routine very quickly. I mean, I'd be lost without a routine. And I say I've quite enjoyed maybe not being in a full routine while I've been in lockdown, but I can assure you I've still had a full routine. It's almost been on Sky from 9 till 11. I've been getting a walk in at 11 for an hour, maybe coming in and do a bit of gym, then have my lunch, and then of the afternoon I might read a little bit of papers and get me to the evening, really. So I have still had a routine, and so I have to have a routine every day. So it's never been a problem not having a routine. It's probably a problem for the family sometimes that I'm too much of in a routine, and I'm dead set on what we're doing at what time. So I couldn't be any other way, but hopefully this lockdown will make me chill out a little bit.
Great. We've now got season ticket holder Genevieve, who's got a few questions for you.
Hello, Jamie. So my first question is, since your retirement, you've shown how big of a Liverpool fan you are, but what has been your favourite moment as a Liverpool fan? So like since stopping playing and stuff like that?
Well, I would say, I mean, well, what's interesting is, if you actually think about it, when I was a kid, I was an Everton fan, and then I was a Liverpool player. Of course, I was a Liverpool fan, but I'd only been a Liverpool fan since I stopped playing, because, you know, obviously the 17 years I was there, I'm more a player than a fan. That's my job, to go on the pitch and get results, really. So it has been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. Been very lucky, really, even in this 7 or 8 years I've had since I stopped playing, that, you know, Klopp's come in, and the times that we've had, really, the trips that we've had. I'd say the Champions League final's an obvious one from just over 12 months ago. To be able to go to these big games with my son and enjoy it and not have to worry about how I'm going to perform. But to be honest, I probably worry more now than when I did when I was playing, really. Because when you're playing, you're still, I wouldn't say you're selfish, but, you know, you've got to worry about your own performance and make sure you're right. You know, you're trying to help other people in the team. But when you're a supporter, you worry about everything. And I would say the hardest game I've ever had to watch in my life was the Champions League final in Madrid, because we scored so early, and it just felt like I was sat there, and we didn't play particularly well or look like we were going to score another goal. So it felt like I was just sat there looking at this clock, and it felt like it was going backwards. And I just kept sitting there just thinking, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. And it was torture, really, watching it, and just the relief when the final whistle went. But it's not just the game, it's the trip when I go away with the lads, and you probably see some of the Instagrams, and, you know, everyone's singing and dancing and laughing. Brilliant times, and all the pictures were getting put up, I think, last week again. It was just great memories, and that's been a little bit of a killer this season for the players and the supporters, that Liverpool are going to win the league, we know that, but they're not going to really be able to fully embrace it or celebrate it. Jürgen Klopp said we will at some stage, and I'm sure we'll find a way. We're very creative as Scousers, so I think there will be a way. But I just think that defining moment, or that big moment to really celebrate, is gone, and rightly so. It's so serious what's happening now, so I don't think it'd be in great taste if we all went absolutely, ballistic when Liverpool win the league, because obviously the situation we're in. But it is just unfortunate for us all with our Liverpool hat on, that what's happened to come at this time.
Fabulous. And question number 2. So, would you say Istanbul was the pinnacle of your career, or do you think there's a moment that defines you more during your time at Liverpool?
No, I don't think there is. I think Istanbul defines me because it was such a big game, and the way I played it was probably summed me up as a player, if you like, in some ways. I think a big one. I mean, people always say to me, what's the highlight or the best thing of my career? I don't say Istanbul. I actually say staying at Liverpool for my whole career, because I think that's a tough thing to do, to stay at such a big club for that long. And being a local lad, I never wanted to move, and I knew it would be difficult at the very start to stay there that long, really. But I look back at that with pride as well, because very few players can achieve that, and a lot of players who were better than me couldn't achieve that. So I'm quite proud of that, and also my debut, because I think without what happened on that day when I was 18 at Anfield and scoring at the Kop, maybe what comes after doesn't happen. I always think you need to make a big start or make a big impression when you get in the team on your debut. But certainly in the first 4 or 5 games, because if you don't make an impression, the manager won't put you back in. So I'm proud of that, or I was lucky, or I was in the right place at the right time. Wherever way you want to look at it, that gives you a massive leap of faith then from the manager, then to have the confidence to put you back in the team.
Fabulous, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. We've now got a question from Nathan.
Hi, mate. So, who helped you the most when you were 8? with football?
When I was 8, I would say that would be my dad. I was 8. I don't think I joined Liverpool then. I think I joined Liverpool when I was 9. So 8 years of age, I would have been playing for the school. I would have been playing for Merton Villa, which was our local Sunday League team, really, and just playing football in the Brunny. So my biggest mentor would have been my dad. He'd have been taking me to the Everton games and talking football. Every game I played, he was there. And him more than the school teachers. He knew more about football than the school teachers who were taking the team or the Sunday League manager. He then became our manager a year or so later at amateur level. So I'd say, you know, he was a big influence just before I went to Liverpool and started dealing with, you know, Steve Highway and the coaches there, and they were obviously a big influence. But as a youngster, I think most kids going into football get pushed into it by the dads. The dad's the one who's there every game for them, whether you play well and he's giving you a pat on the back, whether you haven't done so well and he's maybe giving you advice where you can go right or wrong again. So I think parents are the biggest sort of influences, certainly in a youngster's career, whatever that may be and whatever they may go into.
Thank you.
Great. Good question, that, Nathan. And the next one is from Ryan, his brother.
Hi, Jamie.
All right, mate.
What motivated you to set up your foundation, and what are you most proud of from your foundation's work?
Well, it was sent. The foundation was an idea from someone else, to be honest. It was my testimonial. I've been at Liverpool for 10 years, so you get a testimonial game, give all the money to charity. We're going to have a dinner to raise funds as well, and we got up to £1 million from the crowd coming. It was a full house, and as I said, that dinner. So it was a bit what you do is you give it away in one go, and then we had the idea of coming up with a foundation where you give the interest from that money away each year and it stays there forever, and hopefully it grows over time as well as we keep adding funds to it with different things. So we had a dinner last year for 10 years of the 23 Foundation, and we were looking to give the funds raised there to grassroots football. So we've done a lot of work with that in the last few months. So, I mean, yeah, we are proud of it, I think, as a family as well. And I think that's something that we'll look back on in years to come as well. And I'm really proud that we started, and hopefully it'll be going forever and long after I've gone as well. So that's the aim of the 23 Foundation. We called it the 23 Foundation because they didn't want it to look like the Jamie Carragher Foundation, like it was all about me. There's a lot of people there who help. Really, that's obviously the famous number that I played in for so long. So that's where the name comes from. And the biggest thing from that is not helping one individual person, I would say, just the fact that it's been going 10 years. I know a lot of charities start and can't keep going. It's not easy, certainly in these times as well right now. But the fact we've been going for 10 years and hopefully we'll be going another 20 or 30 years, that makes me very proud, yeah.
Thank you.
Is helping out your local community something that's always been important to you? I know you do a lot for your local community. Is that something that you always thought was important to do?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you become famous, or you're playing for Liverpool or Everton, or you become a celebrity, if you like, you're in the local press, you got a big social media following. I always think if anyone does well from there, I think it's always important that you try and help people in whatever way. And it doesn't matter how much it is or how often it's, as long as, you're looking out for people and trying to do as much as you possibly can, really. And I'm in a fortunate position, I'm in a position where I can help people, really. I don't think what I do is anything special. I think anyone else in my position would do exactly the same, really. As I said, the testimonial gives me an opportunity to, raise £1 million. I can give the interest away. And as I said, I'm sure footballers in my position up and down the country are doing the same. It's just that, obviously, maybe we're more aware of it because of the area I'm from. But yeah, I mean, Bootle's a big part of my life, and I know it's not tough. Well, it is tough living there. And it's not easy at different times. So you try and help people as much as you can, really, around Merseyside. But I do centre on mainly places where I'm from. I've got an affiliation with, so Bootle and obviously Crosby coming to my mind first of all.
Well, that is a perfect link, because we're going back to Crosby's own Lucy.
Yeah, just on behalf of Crosby as the District Youth Commissioner, I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that you do in our community, Jamie. It's fantastic, all the organisations that you work with across Merseyside, but particularly in Crosby. And my next question is, are there any groups or organisations that you work with that you want to give a bit of a shout out? Maybe if people are thinking about getting involved or volunteering, but maybe they don't know where to start. Yeah, any that you can think of that are particularly close to your heart?
Well, I mean, we as a foundation, we obviously help other charities in some ways, really. And they're probably the two things that I'm involved in at the moment. There's a lad who lives behind me who had a difficult start to his life. I think he was actually, he went to prison, he's come out, he's changed his life, and he's actually set up a food business now. And they're based in Netherton, and they're called Holiday Hunger. Now, that's a separate thing, the Holiday Hunger, and what they do, and we're actually funding this right now. We're giving money to them. They make the meals, and they take them to the Brunswick Boys Club because of all the kids being off school now. And he got the name from kids, obviously not having school dinners in the holidays. So he's done a brilliant job. We're funding that now. So Holiday Hunger is a big thing, trying to help young kids when they're out of school. Obviously, they've been off for a long time now because of the pandemic. I think they're just maybe starting, maybe not so much in Liverpool, and maybe rightly so. So we're funding that at the moment, and that's going well. I think we're getting about 80 to 100 meals out a day to people around the Bootle area. Another one, it's not so much a charity. My brother, I don't know if you know about, well, you'll know, Lucy, Rimrose Valley. Yeah. So basically, there's a lot of talk about the road going through there. But when we were kids, that was football pitches and a real proper running track.
And
it's just grown up. Yeah, Chaffers. So it's just grown over with, the grass and whatever it is now. And me and my brother trains in a boxing gym a bit further down, Sid Stankeys, and they want to do a bit of running. So they've actually got together as a group. We're helping with the money-wise, the 23 Foundation. They want to get the track up and running again. So they've actually dug it out. So it's almost like a cinder path, really, or a sand. And that was done a few days ago, really. So that's there now. And hopefully with a bit more funding, we can make it a bit more, accessible for people in terms of actually running properly on it. I'm not sure how far it will go. But again, that's something brilliant for the community now on the Rimrose Valley or Chaffers. That's what it was to us anyway, certainly, as Lucy's mentioned. But they're the two things we're involved in right now.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jamie.
Great. How are you finding the questions so far, Jamie?
Better than your two at the start.
I'd say Lee's ad-libbed there. He's added his own question in the middle. I think he was just feeling like he wanted to say something.
Okay, well, enough for me. We'll go back to Genevieve.
So, do you still talk to any of your old teammates?
Only a couple. It's funny football, really, because I think players move on so much, and we all go our different ways at the end of our career, really. And people I think that we speak a lot more to ex-players and teammates for, over the years. I probably speak to Gary Neville now more than I do Liverpool teammates, would you believe, which is an absolute nightmare for me, really. But I'd say Stevie, Michael, Danny Murphy, Robbie a little bit. That's probably about it. Didier Man, quite a bit as well. Jamie Redknapp, because obviously the Sky situation. But that's probably about it, really. We follow each other on social media and different things. But no, I've never really, kept in contact. On too many players do, really. We all go our different ways when we stop playing. And it is strange because, you spend so long with these people. Everyone's maybe in a workplace, but certainly with football, with pre-season tours, staying away in hotels every couple of weeks, being on a pitch, fighting for the same things, really being in team meetings, eating together, wearing the same clothes every day wherever you go as a team, travel as well on coaches and playing. So you spend so much time with all these people, and you do build, really big friendships, at that time. But very rarely do they stick, because a lot of players move on to another club and then build those same relationships. Me and Stevie were different. We were at Liverpool for our whole career, so we only know the people at our club as such, really. But no, only about 5 or 6, and I don't think I'm too different to many other players. I think that's probably the norm, really, for most players.
Fabulous. And something I'm hoping you can settle. So I've been going the game since I was 4, so it's 14 years now, and I've heard everything under the sun. So in the song Poor Scouser Tommy, would you say it is under the Arabian sun or under the Libyan sun?
Arabian.
The Arabian sun.
Arabian. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'd always... to be honest, I'm not saying I listen to it and think about that, but I've always thought it was the Arabian sun. Well, it's supposed to be the Arabian sun, I think.
I thought it was Libyan, because it's about the war, but who knows?
You know what? You might be right. Listen, can you imagine all those people on the cop? I don't think they're probably as clever as you and working out what it's actually about. So, and it's probably just picked up the Arabian, hasn't it? So we'll get to the bottom of it. Don't worry.
Thank you very much.
Good question. Sorry, there's a question from me, but it is in the script. What skills did playing football teach you that you've taken into other areas of your life? I know you mentioned earlier about being routine and punctual.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think being part of a team is a big part of it. It's not about an individual. It's it's making sure the group win and not just one person win. So I think you can take that a lot of places in your life in different ways, and that is a big thing. Not being selfish, not thinking about yourself, and putting the team first. That was really big under Gerard Houllier. He used to always say that in every team meeting, think team first. That was always a big part of it, really. And at times, I might be the star man on the pitch. Another time, it'd be Steve. Another time, it'd be Torres. It's not about, as I said, trying to stand out. It's about doing what's right and always being there for your teammates. Because I think on a football pitch, it's very rare 11 players will all play well in a game. But if you get 7 or 8 playing well, they can then look after the other 3 or 4 and make sure they're okay. And I think that's a big part of football as well, making sure you're there for your teammates and making sure you help them when they're struggling, because we all had times when we're struggling, we're not playing well, we all need help.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks very much for joining us. Before we wrap up and thank the guys, I think just 2 really quick ones to finish on. So across Merseyside Scouts and our 145 groups, we've got just short of 8,000 people who are really invested in their future by learning all sorts of skills. Would you have any words of encouragement for them as to how important it is to try and learn skills for life outside of school?
No, I totally agree. And I'm talking about relationships before with football, but I'm sure, what you're talking about, what he's involved in, whether it was me with youth clubs, you with the Scouts, you do build up relationships and things that you take throughout your life and things that I think you'll pass on to your kids. Someone told you something when you were young and it sticks in your head. And I have things like that as well when I think of what coaches and managers said to me. I pass it on to my son. I use it on TV now. I think it is a big part of you sort of growing up and your mental well-being, having great role models as well, listening to them, taking as much as you possibly can in, really. And as I said, building those relationships going forward. And I think it was Charlie who said his mother and father had been involved in the Scouts and were leaders and then brought him into it. I'm sure he'll probably pass the same thing, down to his kids, because you become passionate about it and, you have a real feel for it as well, really. And I think it's fantastic what you're all doing. We all want to keep the Scouts going, so make sure you're all passing on to future kids and grandkids.
And the last one, it's Volunteers Week this week, and a national celebration of everything that volunteers do, not just within the Scouts, in any volunteer capacity. Within Merseyside Scouts, we've got about 2,500 adults who volunteer an amount of time every single week, and then another 2,500 who flexibly help over the year. That's a massive number of people. Have you got any words of encouragement or thanks to them for everything that they do to give back to their community?
Oh, massive thanks. I mean, we've been clapping every Thursday, haven't we? And rightly so for the NHS. We'd actually think what goes on up and down the country, every single day. And the NHS, of course, but the people who volunteer and help and do things. And I think we're very lucky that we're in a city where it's almost bred into people that. I think whenever there's a cause to get behind, really, I think Liverpool come out in such strong numbers to help. I actually saw, my daughter actually went to, there was the rally at St George's Hall a couple of days ago for Black Lives Matter, on the back of, obviously, the situation we've been in the last few days, and the turnout in Liverpool, considering this is something happened that in the States, but you still see the passion of people from Liverpool and the thinking that they can help and getting together. And I was actually proud of my daughter to actually go and be involved in that, really, and she's really passionate about it as well, which is great to see. But I just think that's something that Liverpool people will always be there to help people. We always rally round, really. So, it's a massive thank you to all those people you're saying. I think you've just mentioned probably 5,000 people getting involved across the year, volunteers. But there's so many volunteers and other, aspects. I even think of people in my charity as well. And I just think we're very lucky to have these people on our doorstep, really.
We agree. Jamie, just a massive thanks for taking time out your busy schedule to join us. The guys did quite well asking questions there, didn't they?
Superb, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Thanks very much for joining us.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.